Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Barrie Real Estate TV, a weekly web series I do in partnership with 705contracting.ca. I'm your host, Luc Bouillon, a real estate broker with the Knowles Woolsey team at RE/MAX Hallmark Che, right here in the beautiful city of Barrie. We are here in my kids' playroom this week, because coincidentally, it is the only room the kids aren't in. As we're all home as part of the social distancing and the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope everyone is well and still with me. The government has just released something called the CERB or CERB, which is supposed to help many of you with this difficult time. If you've been laid off, if your hours have been reduced, if there's different things that are affecting your financial situation, and of course you still need to pay your mortgage, pay your rent, and pay your other bills, feed your family, etc. We're going to talk a little bit about that today because there's a lot of confusion and misinformation. I am definitely not an expert, but I've done some reading, and let's see what we can talk about right after this. Welcome back, guys. So as discussed, we're going to be talking about the CERB or CERB that the Government of Canada has put out to try and help Canadians weather this pandemic financially and take care of their families. So what do we know? Well, from what I understand, whether or not you're eligible for unemployment, you should be applying for the CERB instead at this time. If you haven't applied yet, the CERB, this fund has been set aside specifically for this pandemic, so it's not necessarily tied to the regular employment insurance program. If you're off work right now, for any reason related to COVID-19, you should simply be applying on the portal for the CERB. What that's going to get you is $2,000 per month in payments that are retroactive until when this all started. So it doesn't matter when you apply. You can apply anytime between now and December, at the end of the year. December 2nd, I believe, was the cutoff date. And then you're going to get retroactive payments of $2,000 a month for up to, I believe it's 15 weeks for the entire span of when this pandemic financing is taking place. However, one thing that I've noticed in the reading materials here is you do have to be at a zero income at this time to qualify for CERB payments. So there are some people who may have had their hours reduced significantly. They're, so they've been laid off, for example, and they're eligible for unemployment, but then they've picked up a small, 1 day a week side job or something like that. You may still have to apply for unemployment because if you're not at a zero income, you won't qualify for the CERB. But if you're under the amount of money that you can legally earn on employment insurance, you may still get the difference there up to the 55% of your income. Now, if employment insurance, as we all know, is a certain percentage of our income, up to 55%, depending on your earning bracket. The CERB is a flat $2,000 payment for everyone. The difference, however, is the CERB is not taxed. It will be taxed. It's taxable income, but they're not taxing the payment before they send it to you. They're sending you $2,000. But if you are, for example, in a 50% tax bracket, you need to be setting aside $1,000 of that for taxes at the end of the year. Hopefully you have some idea of what your tax bracket is. It could be anywhere from 30 to 50%, depending on what kind of income you generally earn or expect to earn by the end of the year. So that is important to know. This $2,000 is not tax-free, but it is not being taxed before you receive it. You will owe that money come tax time. So please make sure to take care of your finances and make sure you have that set aside to pay your taxes. That's very important. However, the CERB, it applies to most people who are earning zero income for any reason in relation to COVID-19. So if you've been laid off, if you've been quarantined, if you have to take care of someone who has been quarantined, if you have children who are not in school and you can't work for that reason, pretty much anything to do with this pandemic that you're no longer earning income, you're going to qualify for that $2,000 a month pre-tax. So this is great news from the government. There's a lot of unanswered questions as far as where all that money comes from and how we pay it all back. Not we pay it all back, but I mean as the taxpayer, in terms of obviously this is going to cost the country a lot of money, but it's a very important step to make sure that the economy keeps rolling. People are able to feed their families, pay their rents, pay their mortgages, etc. We did talk I believe 2 weeks ago in the video about the mortgage deferral program, which is another important one for people who are having some serious financial difficulties. But again, if you're going to qualify for the CERB, you're going to get this $2,000 a month payment. I know that may not be as much as you generally earn, but hopefully it's enough to make that mortgage payment, because you don't want to be deferring that unless it's absolutely necessary. I mean, these programs from the government are hopefully going to keep most people afloat through this pandemic instead of going into extra debts. And deferring a mortgage payment is just that. It's pushing debt further down the line. It's costing you extra interest. And there's definitely cost to that you don't want to be associated with if you don't absolutely have to. So take advantage of these programs instead. Get that income in so that you can pay your bills as normal. You may have to cut back on some things, but you're not going to be putting yourself into a dire financial situation after the pandemic, which might be happening if you're just putting everything on credit or deferring payments at this time. That said, there are other programs that may not cost you that you should look into. I've noticed from some of the different lenders and credit card companies and whatnot have sent out notices saying that they will do an interest reduction for a few months. That's something that would be free to you. For example, I think the PC MasterCard sent an email saying they would drop their interest rate from 19.9 to 9.97, but only if you call them. So that one there is penalty free. You can just call them and get a reduction in your interest. If you have a balance on a card like that, saves yourself some money. So that's some important things to take advantage of. Again, if you can use those programs, if you are seeing a reduction in your income right now compared to what you normally would, just take care of your family. And if those companies are offering those programs for you that don't cost you anything, those are great, as opposed to deferring payments, which again, some credit cards will let you do, but that just means extra interest hacked on and extra things later down the road. So important to make sure that you're making the right decisions there instead of just taking advantage of every program. Weigh them each individually and see if they are just a discount or if they are going to be a deferral, which will cost you later. So these are important things to know, guys. If you have any questions about the CERB or about anything really, I mean, we are here to chat with you all the time, guys. We did send out an email to people who are on our email marketing client list, offering to schedule video chat appointments one-on-one with clients. If you didn't receive one of those, please contact me if you're interested in that as well. We can go over things like the market, house prices, how some of the situations that may have changed things in your neighborhood, or we can just chat about things going on in Barrie. We can help you do the application for the CERB as well. It's all online, actually really simple to do. We're just here to help. We're all in this together, and we want to make sure that we are providing value to our clients and our friends and our family in a time where we're not necessarily doing a lot of real estate related activity. There is some stuff going on in there. We do still have some clients who need to sell their homes amid this pandemic, and we're doing our best to do all of that virtually and only going out when absolutely necessary. For the most part, all of us on the team here are staying in our homes, and we're doing things by video conference. We're doing things by virtual tour. We're doing all kinds of electronic paperwork and whatnot. But we do absolutely have ways to sell homes if necessary. However, everybody knows that traffic has been reduced. We're having a lot of free time on our hands right now, but we're spending most of the time with our family, and because everybody here is quarantined together, kids are off school, that sort of thing. But we'd still love to chat with you if you have to do anything that you need or want to talk about. Even if you just want a Netflix recommendation or a good bottle of wine, we are here to chat with you anytime. So give us a call, myself or any member of the Knowles Woolsey team, and we'll be happy to talk about it. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.